So with the transfer portal reopening on Saturday, there's going to be no shortage of portal topics for us to discuss. However, today, I want to sit and talk about something else, because ever since the transfer portal reopened, I've been sitting here thinking and wondering who could the impact players be. And with that in mind, I want to first start off by turning our attention to the Oklahoma Sooners, as OU took yet another top 10 class in transfer portal acquisitions. And today, we're going to talk about some names I think could be impact players. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe Oklahoma is going to get active in the transfer portal during the second window? And then let me know the names you think are set to make an impact. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. We're on a push to 20,000 subscribers. I'd love to have you a part of this unbelievable community. And if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions seem small, but they truly are massive to content creators such as myself. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And already, when the transfer portal opened, we've seen some big names enter the portal, and I've said for quite some time, I think there's this notion around college football that all the excitement is relegated to the first transfer portal window. And personally, I don't think that's the case. After spring practices, these players have a better understanding of where they sit on the depth chart, and they're going to get active in the transfer portal, and I'm super intrigued to see what moves institutions all across the nation make. But with the Oklahoma Sooners, one thing we have got to acknowledge is that Brent Venables and this staff have been active in the transfer portal, getting their second top 10 class in transfer portal acquisitions to go along with their second top 10 class in recruiting. And when you look at the list of guys they've gotten out of the transfer portal, there's already a lot to be excited about. One thing, whenever we're talking about the Oklahoma Sooners and a need for 2023, we always talk about that defensive line. What is Oklahoma going to do to strengthen the interior of the defensive line? And unfortunately, the Sooners just had an individual enter the transfer portal that was along that line. However, good news for Oklahoma, even though you'd still want some depth, and let's be honest, that's a position you can almost never have too much depth, the amount of people that rotate in and out. You just want a strong showing in that room. Oklahoma got a lot of names in the transfer portal along that defensive front that I know OU fans are going to be very excited about. You have Rondell Bothroyd, you have Sears, you have Trace Ford, you have Jacob Lacey. This is what I mean when I said I was really impressed with Brent Venables whenever he first got to Oklahoma. The way he came in there, the turmoil he inherited, but the way he was able to sail smoothly through the turmoil. He was able to look at the team, identify needs, and go out and pursue those needs. If he didn't land it in the recruiting class, he did it through the transfer portal. And right now, when you look at the state of the Oklahoma Sooners, it makes complete sense that he would be completely active in the transfer portal. Look, there's a lot of changes happening for OU. One thing we acknowledge frequently is the changes he inherited, but one thing we also acknowledge, but it's always in the back of our mind, is the move to the SEC is going to change the way Brent Venables wants to structure this team, because he's not looking for short-term success. He's looking to build this team for long-term success once they get to the SEC. Now, luckily for the Oklahoma Sooners, that move is on the horizon, so it's going to be here sooner rather than later, no pun intended, but you get my point. Brent Venables is smart. He wants to make sure he's going to build something safe, something that will be able to succeed. And speaking of being safe and succeeding, we need to talk about today's sponsor, Aura. Did you know that in 2022, the United States had its second worst year ever in terms of data compromises? And not only was it the second worst year in terms of data compromises, but there was a substantial amount of capital loss coming in at $10.2 billion in 2022 alone, which is exactly why I'm so excited to talk with you all about today's sponsor, Aura. Anybody can find anything online, including your name, address, phone number, or even your relatives' information. And all of this is possible because data brokers selling your information to scammers, telemarketers, robocallers, or anybody that wants to learn more about you. But this is exactly where Aura comes in. Aura will help you identify these data brokers and submit opt-out requests on your behalf, and they will even opt you out of junk mail and telemarketing lists. If you use the link shown on screen and found in the description, Aura will hook it up with 2 free weeks so that you can see just how many people are after your data. Plus, Aura monitors your emails and passwords to see if they were involved in a data break and exposed on the dark web, and will give you recommendations on what to do. Aura has a VPN, a password manager, real-time credit and identity theft monitoring, internet parental controls, and protects your devices from malware. It truly is the one-stop shop for user protections. Plus, they offer different bundles so that you can either take care of yourself or the whole family at an awesome rate. So let Aura keep you safe. Go to the link in my description to claim your 2 free week trial and start protecting yourself online. Once again, go to aura.com/ATTS to start protecting yourself online with a 2-week free trial, link in the description. Thank you so much to Aura, and back to the video. So it's awesome to see whenever we're talking about needs for the Sooners, and one of the first needs we talk about is interior defensive line, and already we talk about 4 names that they got from the transfer portal to help fill in there. And that's not even talking about the additions they got in recruiting or what they could go out and get now that the transfer portal has already reopened. These are the 4 additions they already got, and I know these are going to be additions that can help shore up that defensive front. But sticking on the defensive side of the football, there's an addition OU got out the transfer portal that if you're asking me, Ty, what's the player that's going to have the most impact on our team? I would offer you 1 for offense, 1 for defense. And if I'm going defense, you have to say Dasan McCullough, right? I mean, that's just the obvious answer. I hate to give a cop-out answer, but that's got to be the one, especially when he's being worked out at the cheetah position, a position that has so much importance in Brent Venables' defense. We talk about this all the time on the live streams. The cheetah does it all. They're active in run stuffing. They're active in pass protection. So for you to go out and get a guy that Brent Venables, this staff is this excited about, I'm super intrigued. Now, make no mistake, transitioning from linebacker to cheetah is a big difference. There's a lot that McCullough is going to have to learn, and because of that, this is going to be a learning process. However, the athletic ability is there. This guy has got athletic ability in troves, and because of that, the Oklahoma Sooners faithful are very excited. Not only because of what he's going to bring, but because of what he brings in conjecture with some of your new linebackers. It could get really fun to watch, and I'm super interested. But I think whenever you're talking about excitement out the transfer portal, this is probably going to be the name most Sooner fans give you, and for good reason. Your new head coach is a defensive-minded guy, specifically working with the linebackers, and a position he's kind of coined in his own defense, the cheetah position. That's the guy y'all went out and got. And make no mistake, whenever McCullough hit the transfer portal, I told everybody in our little group chat, watch this name. This guy had a freaky season as a freshman. Watch him. Every college in the nation is going to be after him, and I didn't realize at the time he would end up at OU. Lo and behold, here he is. Now, sticking on the defensive side of the football, there's one more name we need to talk about, and that's Reggie Pearson, the safety. Because this guy right here has got a lot of ability and especially is a nightmare in defending the run. He is not scared to come down and lay the wood. So whenever we look at the Oklahoma Sooners secondary, this is an area we've talked about on the live stream several times. The OU fans are excited to see how it all shakes up. The OU secondary had some big-time moments last year, and now when we look at this, they return some production. So you're looking at a situation where not only do you like some of the talent you have back there, but some of that talent has experience. This is going to be a battle I'm super keyed in on just because of some of the talent in the room, some of the experience in the room. How does this secondary end up looking? It's one of the biggest questions I have for Oklahoma, and I don't mean to say that in a manner of like, oh, I question whether or not they'll be good. I just question how it will look because there are so many possible scenarios. Super interested in hearing from all of you. But now we need to transition to the offensive side of the football, and unfortunately, if you were super excited about hearing a ton about the offense, most of the work has already been done in this video. Oklahoma's biggest need in improving is on the defensive side of that football. Look, we can talk about the offense needed to shore up some things, maybe a bit more consistency, but at the end of the day, the Oklahoma offense was pretty efficient last year. They had the Sooners in position to win multiple games. It was how much new they had on defense. You're going from a scheme that's all about speed to a scheme that's all about making sure you're doing your assignment correctly. Almost two polar opposites in the way you approach even beginning to prepare for the game. And that's what makes this such an intriguing kind of transition from Alex Grinch speed defense to the Brent Venables defense. I'm not going to bore you with that anymore. Let's get to the offensive names. And we're going to start with one of my favorite positions in football, the tight end. Guys, if you've been around the channel, no secret how much I value the tight end position. I think right now, if you want to build an instant mismatch on offense, you almost start with the tight end or quarterback because those guys just prove at every level of football they are the ultimate mismatches, and defenses are scrambling trying to find an answer, i.e. why Brent Venables is so selective in his cheetah position. These defensive minds are trying to find the answer for these athletic tight ends. And you get a guy that not only has got a ton of experience in college football, he's got a ton of upside, he's got experience in an Oklahoma jersey, Austin Stogner, and he's got a compelling story. I love compelling stories. I don't think there's any secret about that. I wouldn't be doing what I do if I didn't love compelling stories. This guy's got a compelling story. I'm going to be rooting for him, and Oklahoma loses a tight end in Willis, and now you're looking at a situation where the reason you're so excited you have Stogner, you need someone who's going to be able to identify blocks and be able to get those blocks in. Even if Stogner isn't an otherworldly blocker, and I'm not saying he is or he isn't, that's not my contention here, just letting you know, he's been in college football long enough to at least pick up, hey, that guy might be blitzing off the edge. I need to go chip him and then release so that DG can get me an easy completion and save himself, as opposed to a new tight end might not even pick up that there's a blitz coming from right there. These are the things that make it so intriguing, right? When you pick up guys that have experience like a Stogner. And the last name we'll talk about, Walter Rouse on the offensive line. And look, one thing we talk about at length whenever we're talking about the Oklahoma offensive line, even in a year where there may be some questions, such as this year, you lose several faces off the offensive line, Oklahoma gets the benefit of the doubt. Why? Bill Bedenbaugh. He's a guy that more often than not is going to get it right. And so at this point, you kind of just give him the benefit of the doubt. And if there's concern, I'm sure they'll voice it. But unless there's voiced concern, you just kind of believe that, hey, this guy's done it time and time and time again. He will continue to do it time and time again. Look, Bill Bedenbaugh is one of the most elite offensive line coaches in the nation. I don't think there's any contention about that. So look, even though I think there's a plausible explanation as to why people don't spend as much time talking about the Oklahoma offensive line, that does not diminish how it's good that you can get in a Walter Rouse to this offensive line. Iron sharpens iron. And even though Bill Bedenbaugh is a phenomenal offensive line coach, you want to give him the talent to be able to work with. And stacking that room with talent only allows for more versatility, more flexibility, and at the end of the day, I think that's something that is a compelling factor for the Oklahoma Sooners. So, super interested to see what OU does moving forward in the transfer portal. Can't wait to hear from you. What's an addition you would love to see Oklahoma make out the transfer portal? That's it. See ya.